I'm going to deploy the last part, which is the simulator console deployment. The simulator console simulates people using a website and entering and sending donation. We will have 3 instances of the console, or 3 container instances. Each process will read data from one specific JSON file. Each JSON file contains 50,000 donations. The JSON donation data will be sent to the load balancer IP using an HTTP post. Each process executes 10 HTTP posts in parallel, and I use a GW token for authentication. I started the Azure Storage Explorer, and here is my donation queue, which is empty. And in this table, if I click refresh, I can see that I have 2 tables that have been created by the queue processor first instance that started previously. And if I open my table and click refresh, you see I have no data. Let's deploy the simulator instances. This is done. In a few seconds, they will start sending donation to the load balancer. And if I execute the tool kubectl pod, I can see my pod, including my first person simulator 1.050 that is in mode container creating. Let's try it again. And now I can see I have 1 simulator running and 1 simulator instance in mode creating. Let's try one more time. And now finally I can see I have my 3 instances of my API endpoint, my 3 queue processor, and finally my 3 person simulator instance running. And now if I switch to my web dashboard, I'm starting to see some information. Let's start from the top of the dashboard. I can see in pseudo real time how many donations were received and processed, and the total in dollars of all the donations processed. In this chart, I can see the total donation per country. I'm going to filter the result to only display the amount greater than $10,000. And now I can see that so far the total amount coming from Russia is $64,000, Brazil $45,000, etc. This chart represents the evolution of the number of messages in my queue. The count tends to go up because I'm receiving more messages than I can process. By the end of the exercise, the count will go down and reach 0. These 3 charts shows the number of donations sent by each simulator console. It is not super interesting, the line will go up until reaching 50,000. But if there was an issue, I should be able to visualize it graphically. These 3 charts shows the number of donations received in enqueue by each REST API endpoint. These 3 charts should be similar as the one above. These 3 charts shows the number of donations processed so far. That is to say, for each message in the queue, we pop the message, validate the data, store the information in an Azure table, and compute the country amount aggregation, which will be sent later to the dashboard. Here I have information in a table format related to the number of donations sent. I can see my 3 simulator console, the number of donations sent per process so far, the number of donations sent per second, and on the last row the total. I can see that I'm sending a total of 364 donations per second. Similar information for each REST API process, the total number of donations received by each endpoint and enqueued. And my total per second is 350. The number of donations per second sent and received do not match exactly. This is because of the way I'm doing the math. but the number are close, which means that so far I'm able to receive donation as fast as I can send them. And at last, the donation processed. I can only process about 280 donation per second versus enqueuing about 350 donation per second. Therefore, the number of messages in my queue will increase until there is no more donation to send. And here's my queue increasing. I see that we sent around 91,000 donation, so we are about 66% done.